that ever met him liked him. And everybody that ever met him liked him. He had that charisma about him, that he could get along with anybody.
Now what's this gonna be? Oh, how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first green ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day of my life, yeah, nigga chasing cheese. And I'm saying niggas should be around, they won't see you off your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that. I done picked that girl up when I caught my first package. I be damn, me and my people hurting for something for a day. That shit happened, the next man ain't getting nothing. Faded the root of evil, and that's my damn best friend. And I put that on my life, ain't nobody gon' fuck with him. You try to jam it, yeah, that ass getting chopped. Trying to serve ain't got no business on my block, I bet you getting chopped. Now either way you try to fuck with my pop, don't believe that ass getting chopped. Now what's it gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now what's it gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm back in the mix. Them flaky niggas better stand down. Came home, got me some yam, I'm the man now. Niggas, some bitches all from my face, I ain't know who they is. Everybody up on my mix like I'm a hero and shit. Fall back, I'll buy a brick. Right now, I'm on a mission. I'm giving you 2 for 20, got grams going for 50. Putting that in my pockets, the nigga, you bullshitting. What the fuck you ain't missing? I done told you I got to get it. Nobody depending on me, so it's all mine. I ain't stressing out by myself, that's how it going down. My mama fighting a little addiction, she gon' be alright. Forever tweaking and begging, I put something up on the pipe. It's a little fraction of my life, still all in for a lick. Lurking for fatty, looking for niggas to tone mix. Father lurking, never hurting, different side come out. That flip shit, up the check on Mr. Hyde. Come out. Gonna be, you know how I played it all. That nigga burning G.
Welcome to your favorite channel. It's your boy PBK K9s, giving it to my brothers and sisters, my people out there, fair and unbiased, raw and uncut, like I always do, man. Big shout out to all the pet lovers, like I always say, across the world, across the whole globe. All my people down in the chat, what's going on? What's going on with you? John Demery, salute to you, big dog. Appreciate you rocking with me tonight. City Boy Kennels in the building, representing, man. Hey, it's your boy PBK K9s. I got some news for the night, and we're gonna talk some dog talk. And I want to get some brothers up here that had some dealings with them Paladin dogs. You know what I'm saying? Stuff down off the Paladin and stuff, just to get a little feedback from them Paladin dogs and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm dropping a link. Let me go ahead and drop the link for once, and I'll keep dropping it throughout the night as well. You know, and like I said, I got some updates on a dog fighting situation, plus some more dog talk as well, plus some more news. You know, hope everybody having a great day, great evening, great morning. Just depends on where you're watching this video from. You know, I didn't stream on Facebook tonight. I'm making them Facebook jokers come over here to YouTube if they want to watch it. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know, 23-1. What's going on? What's going on, Trevor Lahey? What's going on, my brother? Salute everybody out down in the chat, man. Salute everybody down in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and start this thing off with some news and you know, get some more folk up in here, and then we're gonna get to that dog talk. Oh, I got some news I want y'all to check out as well, but I ain't gonna play that till we get a little more people in here. Let's go to Greenville, South Carolina, though, where we got 2 guys who was arrested for having a litter of puppies dead inside of a cooler. You know, I don't know if it was one litter, but they just said they had a bunch of puppies dead inside of a cooler. So we're going to get to that news clip, man, and we're going to let this thing unfold the way it unfolds.
The sheriff's office says 2 men abandoned 12 puppies trapped inside a cooler.
Yeah, the sheriff's office arrested and charged these men, Samuel Smith and Brandon Benefield. A bystander found the puppies dead inside of the cooler on April 6th and called the sheriff's office. After looking through some videos, deputies say they found these 2 suspects who they say admitted to abandoning the puppies because they could not care for them. Now, they each face 24 charges of abandonment and ill treatment of animals. The sheriff's office says if you need help caring for your pets, you can always contact County Animal Control.
Yeah, them boys there, they had dead dogs in the cooler. I don't know. Hey, you already know where they going at. But let me give y'all this update, man. Remember the brothers that got jammed up in Texas in the dog fighting situation? Well, we got an update on that. Their trial is being delayed. Well, one of them trial is being delayed. So I'm gonna let y'all check that out. They're taking the trial, you know. I hope they're aware of what's going on out here in this dog game. I hope they see the news, what's going on around the United States since they got in trouble in this dog game. You know what I'm saying? And keep all that in mind. But let's check it out.
Participating in a dog fighting ring in Smith County will have to wait a bit longer for his trial to begin. Michael and Carrie Jones both face charges of animal cruelty and dog fighting after 59 injured dogs were found on their Smith County property last year. During a hearing yesterday, the state said they plan on taking Carrie's case to court first. His trial date currently set for August 11th. The judge then asked the state or defense to delay Michael's trial until his brother's case is done.
They ain't had too much to say about that. But this next news article I'm about to put up here, man, it's going to be something to talk about for a minute because I'm trying to figure out. I can't understand it. You know, we got a fella who was sent to prison, you know, for animal cruelty. He shot his own Labradors. He shot his own Labradors, said he had to save his marriage. You know, so they gave him prison time, but it was overturned, and that's what we're about to look at now. His sentence was overturned, and this. They say the sentence was overturned because the animals did not suffer. So this is what my news channel is for, man. You know, brothers that's going through all their little situations and these pit bull stuff, man, use some of these news things that happen across in other states, you know, to wage you some leverage in the situation, because there's no way in hell that a man can get his charge overturned by them saying the dogs didn't suffer. Something ain't right here.
Pet Labradors was convicted of 2 felony counts of animal cruelty and now walks free after his convictions were overturned. This case shocked the Franklin County community when it broke and now is causing anger once again. 10 News reporter Kelly Marsh breaks down the court's decision on the reversal.
In 2023, Terry Michael admitted to shooting both his dogs, Colby and Caleb, in the back of the head, saying he killed them to save his marriage. Michael was convicted of 2 felony counts of animal cruelty. But nearly 2 years later, the Virginia Court of Appeals threw out those convictions, ruling there was no proof the dogs suffered. A necropsy showed they died instantly. That distinction matters under Virginia law, where a felony requires evidence of cruelty or inhumane injury.
So Caleb and Colby definitely suffered at the hands of someone who is supposed to love and care about them
And we believe it's a great injustice, and Caleb and Colby deserve justice, and we hope that the fight continues to get them the justice they deserve.
Haley works at the Franklin County Humane Society, where one of the dogs, Caleb, once lived. She wants to stay anonymous for safety reasons, but says the ruling doesn't reflect the emotional trauma the dogs likely experienced.
And it is absolutely gut-wrenching and heartbreaking to think that we were trying to do the best by him, and the absolute worst possible scenario happened. It is absolutely heartbreaking.
Michael served more than 2 years in prison before the reversal. Now that the felony charges are off the table, it's unclear if the Commonwealth will try to pursue misdemeanor charges instead.
I think that maybe the death was immediate, but their emotions and worry and confusion beforehand, there's no way they didn't suffer, and it wasn't cruel. It was a cruel act to do that to them, to kill them ultimately.
We reached out to the Attorney General's office for comment on the reversal, and they said the opinion is currently under review. Kelly Marsh, 10 News, working for you.
Hey, now, you tell me how it's going down, you know. Dogs didn't suffer. He got out in 2 years, put the pistol to the dogs. Just 3 states further down, dude got 500 years, and none of the dogs was deceased. And I'm curious to how he tried to save his marriage, how the dogs could have saved his marriage by him taking the dogs out like that. All you had to do was get rid of the dogs. I mean, how could shooting the dog save your marriage? And here you won't hear about this case, really. You're going to hear about the pit bull cases. The pit bull cases, they'll give them cases all kind of news outlets, and they'll be all over the news. But in cases like this, they don't talk about them. Only if I wouldn't have put it up on the news, a lot of people probably would never even heard about it. You know, the dogs didn't suffer. Okay. Let that have been a pit bull and see what happened to that brother. It don't make no difference. Like I always say, it don't make no difference what color it would have been. Let it would have been a pit. It wouldn't have been the dogs didn't suffer. Now, I agree, Brother John D, that Virginia, that Commonwealth state, but this is the thing I wondered. What's going on with yellow one, salute the yellow one in the building. This is the thing I wonder. What about them federal laws and when federal stuff start taking over? You know, fair laws trump everything. You know, I don't know, man. I guess, like you say, that Virginia state, man, every state is its own state, you know. But to my folk down in the chat, my folk listening, let's get into the dog talk, man. Because I told y'all a long time ago, you know what I'm saying? I ain't slowing this train down. They can't keep up. They can't keep up. That is on them. You know what I'm saying? Big salute to all my bulldogs across this country, you know. And what I got to do is I want to show some clips tonight of folk who we keep on these high pedestals, folk who we say, and you get mad at me because I say we all bulldogs at the end of the day. You ain't no different than me. I ain't no different than you, you know, unless you're doing something that I wouldn't do, you know. But what I want to do, because a lot of folk won't accept it from me saying it. If I get up here and say, oh, so-and-so was this, and so-and-so was that, and this their favorite dog man, or favorite old school dog man, they just can't accept it from me. So what I'm going to do, you know, I start this thing off tonight, you know, because I'm talking about Mr. Carver right now. You know, great dog man. But at the end of the day, y'all wondering why a lot of that stuff up at Eli and that Carver stuff ain't doing what you wanted to be doing, because a lot of that stuff really may not be who you think it's all for. And you can't accept it from me. So what I'm going to do, let Mr. Mayfield take.
Very much up and down in his life. His lifestyle was unbelievably interesting. And the stories that was around his lifestyle was just unbelievable, especially the stories that he told about his lifestyle. Those was the ones that was unbelievable. But and we got to know Maurice. Maurice was a man that he knew every thief, every outlaw in the state of Texas, and many thieves and outlaws throughout the United States. But he knew every one of them in Texas, and every one of them knew him. And he was very much of a con man type of a person. He was very much of a con man type of a person. And it was as if he would look at us, as if he looked at us in such a way as if to say, are you so stupid that you believed everything that I said?
Now, I just had to let you hear it from one of his peers. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all, like I said, you wouldn't believe it by me saying, oh, I'm hating, or I'm hating. So Mr. Don Mayfield tell you, you know, it just is what it is, man. It was going down then, and it's still going down now. It don't make no difference. You know, and when I was speaking on the game is to be sold, not told, when we was talking about the journal, you know, Mr. P. Sparks was doing that. That's the magazine before the journal even started. You know what I'm saying? So brothers been documenting illegal activities way before, you know, years in the 50s and 60s. So you can't really start blaming it on one group. In actuality, when it started a long, long time ago. You know, no matter if it was, you know, the laws changed, of course, but it was still illegal. You know, and you know, I just wanted to say that as well. Now, when it comes to Mr. Carver, we all, like I said, a lot of y'all dogs ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. They don't, you can't do the inbreeding the way the Red Boy Jocko dogs can do the inbreeding. The dogs don't take the same way. They don't hold, you know, it's because, you know, Mr. Carver played a lot of games when it came to them dogs back in the days, you know, and I got to give it to you from his peer, not me. I didn't say it. I'm just reporting what he said.
Style of dealing was like there was always a number of things in each dog deal that he dealt in such a way as he would change their breeding.
Change their breeding. That means change the pedigree. That means you don't know what you got. Like you about to hear Mr. Mayfield say, you don't know what you got, but he know what you got. And he wanted to stay that way. Now, 40 years later, he is all when it comes to these dogs. And when I say, man, shit me, you know what I'm saying? Shit me, you know? And Mr. Mayfield said when he met Mr. Carver, he was only in the dogs 19. When he died, he was only in the dog 27 years. So put that on the age that he was whenever he died. If he was an old man when he died, take that off 27 years. He wasn't bulldogging when he was 18, 19, like some of them magazines say. And we're going by his peers, what his peers talking about. You know what I'm saying? Not what these magazines talking about and all that stuff. Mr. Mayfield say before he met him, he was bulldogging 8 years before that. He lived 19 years after he met him. That's 27 years. And Mr. Carver was an old man when he passed away, you know. But hey, man, he did his thing in the dog game. I'm just bringing these articles out just to see, man, because a lot of y'all, you can't tell your favorite dog man ain't do wrong out here. And you can't tell the next brother, you know, that he can't exceed your favorite dog man. You know, we all about breaking records, man. This modern day time. Brothers got to understand a lot of them records been broke. You know, just like these brothers say, if it wasn't for these laws, man, a lot of them old school dogs would have been not even talked about no more. Brothers probably wouldn't even be talking about no Zebo, no Yellow, no Jeep, no none of them dogs if the laws would have still been the same, man. You know, that stuff, the laws were made them dogs still relevant today, the way they are today. You know what I'm saying? And if we had more dog brothers like Mr. Mayfield that can give you the real stories from back in the day. See, a lot of these brothers give stories, but they still hold their favoritism to their favorite dog man. You know, you got to hear it from these brothers who was out here with these folk, man. You know what I'm saying? You read the magazine. I just read one say Carver was bulldogging since he was a teen. He came up in it. Came up as a bulldogger. Well, he must have passed away at damn 30-something. Because Mr. Mayfield said he was only bulldogging 8 years before he met him. But hey, let's keep this thing going.
A lot of the dogs that he dealt, he wouldn't put out the true pedigrees on the dogs. He would change their breedings there. To him, it was like he wanted to know how everybody's dog was bred, but he didn't want the people to know how their own dog was bred. He wanted to know, but he didn't want them to know. That his style of...
He wanted to know, but he didn't want none of us to know. K-Walk, what's going on? What's going on with you down there in the chat? Big thanks to you for dropping in, my brother. Big salute to Bruce Banner in the building. Yes, sir. We just talking a little bit of old school dog talk, some stories. If brothers want to drop some stories down in the chat, you know, let me drop that link. Drop that link. Just talking about how some of these old school dog brothers really screwed the game up before a lot of brothers even knew about the game. The game was already damn being screwed up. You thinking you got one off of Carver's this, Carver's that, man, and it's coming off of one of the other dogs. Now I got a video with Mountain Man, Mr. Lester Hughes, speaking on it as well. Only reason I didn't play it for you tonight because Mr. Hughes was speaking so quietly and so soft that I felt it would have been hard for y'all to hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's the video on YouTube or whatever, but he said people was telling him that his dog was coming off of something else, you know, but he don't know nothing about that is what he said, basically, you know. But like I said, the video, he was speaking a little too soft on that video, so I didn't want to upload it. I felt like y'all had a hard time hearing it, you know. But a lot, Mr. Carver wasn't the only brother doing this, man. A lot of folk did this, you know. That's why you got to worry about what you got. You can't over put some of these folk, man, because you know different than them. Like I said before, man, and I'm gonna stand on that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you doing things they never did, you know. So imagine how many brothers really got some real Carver breedings, you know. And then we already know what Mr. Boudreaux did with Blind Billy them. They didn't have no papers on them. It took Mr. Mayfield to tell you about that. I guess Mr. Mayfield was hating, you know, and he maybe did some stuff like that in the past himself. But at that particular time, he's just telling a story on Carver. And the story that he gives, you know, we all know folk who we call a con man in 2025. You know, we can all look around and say who we consider the dog game con man right now, you know. But even the person who you would consider the dog man, con man right now in 2025, even they're going to probably give you legitimate papers on their dog, you know. And it just is what it is, man. You know, wicked stuff been going in the dog game since the dog game been the dog game. You know, I can't really say nothing else about it. You know, everybody just got to play their part. Everybody got to do their thing and move how they got to move. Now, I got a clip with Irish Jerry talking about the Red Boy Jeep Dogs. What y'all think about the Red Boy Jeep Dogs? Do y'all think that's a line of his own? Red Boy Jeep, not Red Boy Jeep, but Jeep Red Boy. Do you think that's a line of his own, like Red Boy Jocko?
What do you bring? Is a quarter Red Boy, 3/4 Jeep, vice versa? I mean, what do you use?
Well, I like the Jeep Red Boy combination. If you've got a Jeep Red Boy dog 50-50, I think you can cross it with anything. But the Jeep Red Boy works as one strain rather than a cross. Okay. Because they've been, for 5 and 6 generations, they've been Jeep Red Boy, not Jeep or not Red Boy.
Not Jeep, not Red Boy. So what y'all think about that, man? Y'all think that's one line? The Jeep Red Boy dogs? I tell you what, I feel like you can call it one line because of how brothers been breeding it since back in the days, or when they was crossing it back in the days. But as well, Jeep is his own line, Red Boy is his own line, and for certain circumstances, Jocko really can't be his own line because of the fact that no more breeders were made, outside of the ones that Mr. Chavez made. So Jocko kind of really stuck with the Red Boy dog, a look, kind of in a way. But Red Boy got his own, Jeep got his own. Everybody else pretty much got their own, whether they cross or not. Bolio, Tombstone. The Tombstone Bolio was about the closest thing other than the Jeep Red Boy to the Red Boy Jocko, far as being one line. Two dogs becoming one line. And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, man, if any of y'all brothers got any Paladin dog stories, hit that link as well. Even if you don't got none, whatever line you running or whatever kind of line you like, And I did hear RJ say something about that Midnight Cowboy stuff. I hear a lot of people talking good about the Midnight Cowboy dogs from back in the days as well. Maybe they had a little, some good luck with them. I hear a lot of people talking about them, or not necessarily the Niggerino dogs as well. Two dogs I hear people talking good about. The older crowd, rather. The newer crowd, they kind of run with the fad. But them Niggerino dogs and the Midnight Cowboy stuff. Big salute to Marcel Shepard in the building. Y'all hit that like button up. We getting into that dog talk now. I want to know, man, when it comes to working a dog out and conditioning the dog and getting your dog in tip-top shape, right? A dog like Shorty Cowboy, how would you? I mean, you gonna only work the dog. He gonna work regardless of how his leg shape. But when dogs shape like this, it makes me feel like I can't get 100% out of a dog like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It just seemed like a dog like Shorty Cowboy cannot run at a pace that a full structure dog could. Now, Yellow One say, do I think Red Boy ain't shit without the Jocko? I ain't gonna say that. Yellow One, because there was a lot of Red Boy breeders, and like I said, by default, Jocko kind of stuck with Red Boy, and we can't really say what Jocko dogs would have been without Red Boy, because we could easily say, would his dogs be anything without mixing the Red Boy stuff in it? You know what I'm saying? And so we can't really, he kind of grandfathered in Jocko, so we just know. But as far as Red Boy, I think he would have produced some good dogs, or he did produce great dogs without the Jocko stuff. I think he would have been just fine if Jocko would have never existed. I think Red Boy would have still been just fine out there with the dogs that, that's in the game, with the Eli or the Jeep or the Rascal or whatever other lines you got. I think he would have been straight. Now, the thing is, if Red Boy would never existed, would we have the gameness or the game trait from back? What would have been the dogs that we would have been using for to bring that game trait in our dogs? Because a lot of them old school brothers, they was using them alligator dogs. But when the Red Boy dogs, I'm not gonna say the Red Boy dogs pushed the alligator dogs out of the way, because alligator is a little bit before my time. Dogs out because what's going on a little bit before my time. Dogs out because what's alligator is a little bit before my time. You got an echo. You good now?
Yeah, I can hear.
What's going on with you tonight, brother?
Not much. How's it going?
Hey, I can't complain, man. We had a nice, good, warm day today. Hopefully, it stay kind of warm. I know in a minute we're gonna walk outside at nighttime. You sweat. Mosquitoes
Oh,
bite, mosquitoes ain't got cranked up yet, but I can't complain, man.
Well, first we got to go through all the humidity and all the bad, crazy storms that are coming through, rain and all that stuff. But it's all coming, just like every other year.
Yeah, you right about that. Now, what you think about that, man? As far as the Red Boy and the Jocko, you think how you think Red Boy would have fared if Jocko without having that Jocko cross?
Well, I think Red Boy's Red Boy and Red Boy Jocko's Red Boy Jocko, and it's kind of Red Boy Jocko's, been bred together for so long. You could probably call it its own thing, just like Bolio Tombstone. Paladin dogs, you were mentioning Paladin, and I never had any experience with like pure Paladin, but I've seen some crossed into some of the old stuff, and like the Niggerino, like what she was saying, stuff like that. And there was a lot of that around back in the day, and I always wanted to get a pure Paladin dog. I think there's maybe some of it out there, but it's good luck finding that.
Yeah. Now we got my partner City Boy got a male that's a walk-em-all, straight walk-em-all male. But what happened? We bred a Paladin Frisco female into the Big John stuff many years back, and then we took the puppy off that and bred back to some more of that Big John stuff, and took the puppy off that and bred back to some more of that Big John stuff, and took the puppy off that and bred back to some more of the Big John stuff, and that's the dog that he got now. So the Paladin is back there, but it's a nice little way back there. But I say that to say this: when that cross was made with that Frisco and that Paladin, because it was close up into the mama dog pedigree, they was close in that pedigree. But when that cross was made with the Red Boy Jocko, they made some hellified dogs, some pretty good dogs.
Hell yeah, that Paladin clicked with a lot of stuff.
But I tell you what, man, I only had 2 experiences with Paladin. That's one with the Big John stuff, and it kind of got me looking at it in a better way now, because we had a Paladin dog back in the days, man, and I'm talking about scared. If this was the only dog I had to judge a Paladin dog off of, when I hear the word Paladin, I'm running far as I can get. Boy, I'm talking about. She was so scared, man. And then when she got off the chain, we couldn't tie her back up, but she wouldn't go hit no dogs. She'd just run on the tree line of the yard, staying away from everybody off in the bushes. Have her feet over there. She'd come eat her food, and she'd even eat some of the other dogs' food if she could, but she wouldn't let nobody grab her. And that was a pretty bad experience with that Paladin dog. We ended up getting her, put it back on the chain or whatever, but she was this scary acting. And truthfully, I don't know how close she was, but the guy that he was like, that's a Paladin dog. She was a red nose.
Now, you think they might have put some bootleg or some cap on you?
Hey, it could have been some bootleg. That's why I say if I don't see
the palette, all the different stuff I ever crossed or seen with that had that Paladin in it, made you go say, where's the, you wanted to find it and get more of it,
Hey, that's why I say about the Turtle Buster as well, man, because if I don't see the papers when these brothers give me these dogs, at least, and show me approved, you don't got to show me the papers, but show me an online page or something where this dog is bred this way. You know what I'm saying? I can't really, I'm just going by what you're saying. And right now, I know how people come up and be like, oh, I got a Red Boy Jocko dog, I got an Eli dog, and this dog don't got no Red Boy Jocko or no Eli in him. So it just certain dogs like that Paladin, I never seen the pedigree on him, but the guy who had him, he was a legitimate dog, man, as far as got dogs and stuff. So
he might have got a hold of him some cat and decided to pass you some cat.
Yeah, he ain't passing me shit, because I was hooked on that yellow at that time. By then I was hooked on that yellow shit.
Yeah.
Shit, hell no.
Yeah.
Hey,
that Red Boy, that Red Boy Jeep too. Going with that, let's see, what's some great dogs out there? You got Tramp. I never really had a bunch of Tab, but I think wasn't Tramp and Tab, was they litter mates?
Tramp and Tab.
Red Boy on the bottom, right? So you got Jeep Red Boy.
I ain't sure if they were litter mates. They could have been bred. They could have been litter mates. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly.
I think there was.
But I know who would you rather have the dog off of, Tramp or Tab?
Oh, I'm taking Tramp just because that's what I seen,
Yeah.
The stuff from Tramp was closer to what I seen. I never really, like I said, there was Tab, but it was like I seen it from a distance, but never really had one of it.
Yeah, I had a boatload of that Tab stuff. I want to try some different Jeep stuff when it comes to Tab. I'll take that Tramp stuff, myself any day. Just because I believe Tramp was the better dog, But I had a boatload of that. The Tab stuff good, man, and you got to cross it certain ways. But I had so much of it, and me myself, I wasn't super impressed with it. And it was coming directly off Tab. Not no 4th and 5th generation, nothing. Straight off this joker.
You remember back in the day whenever they had that, didn't mean to cut you off, but do you remember back in the day whenever they had a Tab, you could see, you'd be looking at maybe like some ADBA Gazettes or something, some advertising, and they'd have their DNA was an exact match, and they was really pushing that shit back in the day, remember?
Yep. Now I beat two Tab or a dog off of my partner had 2 dogs off of Champion Brute. I think I took 2 of them out, not back to back or nothing like that, but just in two different times. That Tab stuff, man, and I can spot it. That Tab dogs, they got that look to them. They got them certain eyes. I look at them, they're like a Tab dog right there. And like I said, they're great dogs, but I just feel like I had enough dealings with them, and I feel like I can find better as far as the Jeep stuff. I seen a lot of better Jeep dogs, like I always say, the Don Turtle dog.
Don's Turtle, yep.
That stuff that was coming down off the low country spur stuff.
Yeah,
man, them dogs was throwing off some hellified dogs, and they had size on them. I'm talking about, man, teeth on them, teeth about the size of your pinky finger, man. Insane Honey Badger, what's going on? What's going on with you? Yeah, man. Now, what do you think? What do you think about what the question about what would brothers be using for the gameness if Red Boy didn't exist? And I'm talking about, from the time
Cotton's Bullet, maybe.
Cotton's Bullet, you think?
Yeah, I think that's the closest thing. For that, if you wanted to implement that side to enhance your maybe like Jocko, like if you had a straight Cotton's Bullet dog and you bred that straight to Jocko, kind of like a Chavis Yellow, you know what I mean? Comparable to Red Boy. I think that'd be your closest comparison. What you think?
Shit, I'm really from the Red Boy era, man. I talked to one of the older fellas from around here, Mr. Pecan Man, they call him. He was telling me that he was running the alligator stuff, and I was talking to a couple more old school fellas, and they really was speaking about alligator dogs like they was real game back in them days. So I take it to the point to where when brothers was looking for them game dogs, them dogs that was gonna stay down, they was trying to find them real alligator dogs. I'm talking like 70s, early 80s.
By the time I ever seen any alligator dogs with my real eyes, I wasn't really that interested in what I was seeing. But at that time, I didn't used to, have access to you didn't used to have or I did back in those days, because the internet everything wasn't in front of you and so easily to study the history and stuff like that. And really, if you go back too far, you don't even know how much of that's true. All you know is what's in front of you at that time, too. Yeah. So if you go back there too far, you could be chasing what's a good word for it? A goose chase. You could be on a goose chase to nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
So just whatever you see, or whatever, if you see something you like, or if there's something about it that you like, then that's what you do. And, what you really know is what you have, or what you had, or what you experienced.
Now, what do you get your best dogs off of? Straight close line breeding, or did you see the best ones coming off the crosses and stuff made? Because you know, I can breed. I ain't mean to cut you off. I can breed like say Meliello and Fletcher because you know, I feel like they're gonna they're making real great dogs, but at the same time, the pedigree look good as well. You know, but it's say a dog that I know gonna make better dogs, but the pedigree ain't gonna look worth a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, a lot of times it be like that. You know what I'm saying? And have you seen anything like that, far as it was a pedigree that you really didn't like, but the dogs would just change your whole mind about that situation?
Yeah. I mean, I've tried a lot of different stuff out, you know, throughout the years back, you know, all cross paths with all kinds of stuff. And some stuff you might be really excited about and be like, oh, this is it. And then over time you see other things, and then you might see something else, and, you know, you bounce until you find something consistent. Sometimes you might have a great dog, you know, you might have a great dog, and then maybe he doesn't produce the dogs like what he was or something like that. And then so you go, well, where did this mess up, you know? Or you could be breeding a line of dogs or line breeding and maybe even inbreeding and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you feel like your dogs aren't as how would you describe it? They aren't as on point as they were. Like maybe they lost a little something like that from the way you were crossing. So you breed back the other direction, and all of a sudden everything gets right. Or you take a dog like a straight pure line, a dog like a straight red boy Jocko or the straight red boy or something like that, and you cross it with it, and all of a sudden it's like it, you know, it just invigorates it or something, you know, because of those, even though that pure dog, he may have been bred on that line for so long that, you know, they would say, well, he can't do this or he can't do that. But when you cross him to this other line or something like that, all of a sudden it just brings both sides, you know, both of the best of both sides come together, you know, and make for a great dog or something like that. You know, if you wanted to do a great, you know, a wall climb or something, you know, send a super athlete up the wall or something like that, you know, maybe one of them might be a little clumsy or something because he was bred a little too tight or something, but then you put them together and it clicks, you know. That's all it is, just getting it to click.
Now we bred a dog off the Big John stuff back to a cold bitch that was Jeep Eli, I want to say. And she had already, like I said before, I think I told on one of my other videos, she threw champions in the past. She was cold as hell. And man, them puppies was nice. I'm telling you, them puppies was nice. Athletic, had good size on them. All of them had good attitudes, good bone to them, good big bone to those good thick boned dogs. You know, it really, you know, the puppies themselves, they look like I made a pure Big John breeding, but the you know, the DNA in them was better because it was, you know, it was a bigger gene pool. So, you know, they would have been healthier. You know, they were some nice dogs. I ended up selling mine, the one I kept off the litter, and we did that. That was an AI breeding. That was the first time I ever learned how to do an AI breeding, and it caught on the first time. Luckily for us, you know, made some good puppies though, man.
You ever have to do that progesterone test?
No, I never did it yet.
I had to do that before I ever even thought about trying an AI. I had this nice female. And anyway, I really wanted to get her bred. Now, I'd already bred her like twice and didn't get her, you know. And then I heard about the progesterone tests and all that, and I went in there and did it all and did it on the right day and everything, got a full litter off of her. And that was pretty impressive because you could get her bred. It was just, for some reason, man, you had to hit her on the right spot or you wasn't getting nothing. Or the right time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what you had took it to the vet and did that? Cause I know they sell little machines that you can do it. You can do it yourself.
Yeah, we had this vet that was. He had he liked the what are those, the English bulldog, you know?
Yeah.
He's real into those, you know, at a high level and stuff. So you know, with those type of dogs, you have to do a bunch of crazy stuff, especially when they're breeding top-notch lines and stuff, you know. So he had all the equipment and all that stuff, and I just went in there, and they just took it and said, hey, this is, you know, I think I brought her in there 3 times. And then whenever she got ready to have pups, I took her in there and had an ultrasound. They told me how many she was going to have before she ever had them. And she had them naturally. I didn't have to have a C-section or nothing, but I just went in there, and it was a pretty cool experience, actually.
Okay. Yeah. They got so much of that high-tech equipment out there now, man. Hey, we got King Lone Swipe in the building. What's going on with your King Lone Swipe? Thought you done disappeared on us, fam. Thought you done disappeared on us. About to have to come over there to California to see where you at, see what's going on with my boy at, man. What's up? Now, in your opinion, so like the Red Boy Jocko, since we were speaking about that, you know, the Red Boy was for the gameness and the Jocko probably was for your roughness, maybe.
Yeah. Or you just put them, when they put them together, you know, the Mayfield dogs back in those times, that was supposed to be your, you know, that was supposed to be your devastators, right? I mean, they had it both. I mean, they say that back in Mayfield's day, he was such a great conditioner that he could take, you know, a bad dog and whoop a good dog, you know, if you wasn't on your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
hey, Bella UK, salute to Bella UK, man. All my folk holding me down from across that water. Bella say they done booted her out some channels. hey, Bella, I hope they ain't boot you out this channel. Y'all can't boot. I done told y'all now we can't boot Bella. Bella, our only lady that come down there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but it is, you know, if you got booted from one of the other channels, Bella, you know how it go. You know how it go, man. You know, you gotta fit a certain criteria on some of them channels. You know. But yeah, man, let me see.
I think Jeep is an interesting bloodline if you think about that, because how many different ways, let's say that you got a half daughter and a half son off of Jeep, and maybe one was off a tramp, and then one had a little turtle buster or something in on the bottom side, or it had a little, or let's say some honey bunch. You got honey bunch, you got the Eli side, or you breed towards the La Posse side. You know, you got some different stuff at Carver. You got some different stuff in Jeep, you know, that you can breed around and breed back in on if you was breeding Jeep then like they breed these days, you know.
Man, and yeah, and think about
pure line.
Huh?
It wasn't no pure line, you know. It's throughout the time. It's the time of the line that pures it and makes it become something, you know.
Yeah. And one thing about Jeep, you know, it's like a lot of the things that you was naming just now in the bloodlines that he crossed with, they can, you know, really be considered their own lines, like your Jeep Rascal.
Your Jeep Rascal.
Or you know, your Jeep Red Boy, then you know, your Eli Jeep or your Jeep Eli. I haven't really heard a lot of people, you know, saying that cross as much as they say Red Boy Jeep or Jeep Rascal.
Yeah, well, it goes right there together because I mean, look at Honey Bunch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would consider that closer to the Rascal side, wouldn't you? I mean, if you was instead of Jeep Eli, I mean Jeep Rascal would be that would be more like your just a different way of saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Rascal coming down off Eli, right?
Rascal,
not directly off of them.
Yeah, so Honey Bunch would be like, what's she off of Bullison?
Yep.
Yeah. So then you got Rascal. I'm not the biggest, like I'm not no expert on Rascal. I've never had nothing like Rascal dogs, but when I look at Rascal pedigrees, they go back to a lot of the same stuff, you know, like Carver type stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would just consider that all kind of the closer thing to an Eli dog. Like if you bred an Eli Rascal dog, what would you call that? Would you call that Eli Rascal?
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And that's probably why they don't say Jeep Eli. None. Most time they'll say a Bully Son or Honey Bunch, or you don't really hear Jeep Eli like that.
Yeah. It'll go right together though.
Yep, it'll go right together.
Just like I bet you if you took one of them pure Boudreaux dogs, and you'd have to take it to what strain of Jeep to go to a pure Boudreaux. I guess you'd have to take a Jeep Rascal and breed to a pure Boudreaux dog. Then you'd be breeding back towards that side of the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what if you go 50-50, pure Jeep back to pure Boudreaux?
Well, I don't think you couldn't find a pure Jeep dog these days, because if it was pure Jeep, it'd all go back to the things that made Jeep. But the things that made Jeep was, you had your Honey Bunch in there. So I think that Boudreaux stuff would be breeding back that way because of the Bully Son.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but those Jeep dogs are interesting, because then you got your Jeep Red Boy, right? So that Tramp, that would be a Jeep Red Boy, right?
Yep.
And then Sinbad, or not Sinbad, but Paladin. When we're talking Paladin, they crossed. There was a dog, Sinbad, in there. He's got Paladin on his bottom side, and those were cool. Those were good dogs. I'd have loved to have went back in the day and just kept some of that shit just like that if I could.
Yeah. What that Paladin dog, when that's from, the 80s or the 90s?
It's from on back there, but what was working at the time wasn't like right off of Paladin. You know what I mean? It might be back there a couple, like maybe in the third generation, you know what I mean? Crossed into the stuff down from Jeep or something, the stuff off of Tramp, and then Sinbad, Lunsford's champion Sinbad on the bottom side. Yeah.
Now, have you seen that video on YouTube with Tudor's Dabo on it? And it's it's a color video, regular, like a VHS.
Like a video of Dabo?
Yeah.
No, I have not seen. Are you talking about the Mayfield's Dabo or the real Dabo, like Tudor's Dabo?
Now, I want to say it's Tudor's Dabo, but I could be wrong. It could be Mayfield's Dabo, but it's brown dog, and he looked like a Jeep dog or something like that, but it's brown, and it's about a 30-second video, and it says the only video of Dabo. That's what it's on YouTube. I didn't put it on my video or nothing, but it's up there. You just go look for it.
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
It's a brown dog jumping on the chain and running around about 30 seconds. And like I said, it could be Mayfield's Dabo, but I thought it said Tudor's Dabo. This is the only video. I thought that's what he said, but I could be wrong. But looking at that dog, you know what I'm saying? If it is Tudor's Dabo, looking at that dog, I don't know, man. I mean, he don't look no different than average Joe dog, and for the excuse me, for the way we speak about Dabo, as he the cornerstone of everybody's joint, everybody's dog, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this may be Mayfield's Dabo, man, because the color of it is not like real black and white or nothing like that, but it's pretty good footage.
I'm looking at, I pulled one up here, and it says Don Mayfield's Dabo, and it's actually it says 2 minutes. It's like a 2-minute video. I was trying to find the Tudors.
Is it a brown dog?
Yeah, it's like he's got a kind of a short snouted dog.
Yeah, that's him then. That's him.
And he looks a lot like those a lot like some of Kirshner's dogs back in the day. He has that look. The one that I'm looking at anyway, that's Don Mayfield's Dabo.
Okay.
I thought Dabo would be too old to even have footage like that, but
yeah.
Dabo would have been. He had a litter mate, Heinzel's Arizona Pete, and Dabo. Those two are litter mates, right?
I want to say they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So even because Dabo came from Heinzel's yard, right? that's where Tudor got him. He went out there and he was.
Yeah.
That's the story on him anyway.
Yeah, man. And we know we was lucky enough just to get some video footage from Mr. Mayfield. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I wish we could have got some good footage from Mr. Chavis. All them old school brothers, man. Mr. Mayfield really the only one we really got. And we got Mr. Pete Sparks up there talking sometime. And there's a couple more of them old school brothers, but you know, a lot of fellas, you know, we didn't get.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of Mayfield's videos, one of his videos that he made on his old camera back in the day or something, he said he wished that he would have had some footage of Tudor and his dogs and stuff like that. Like if he was talking about in that time, you know, Mayfield was on there talking and he was saying, if we had dogs or if we could show footage like with today's technology, what we had now, it'd be priceless. You know, he was talking about that.
Yeah, and then he was in his time talking about what he experienced during his early days. So man, he talking about how technology built up, and when he made them videos, it had to been in the early 90s or the late 80s when he made them videos. So imagine, you know, what he would have thought about 2025 and how the technology done switched all up. You know, and I was looking at one of Mr. Pete Spark videos, and he was saying, you know, and I know all y'all have seen the same video when he said this, you know, the days of the old conventions is over. The days of the old conventions is over. We're going to just have to find ourselves about 10 of your good friends and go back there on the farm somewhere. And he was speaking about it like that, you know, and we talking about in the 80s when these brothers is talking about this stuff. So, you know, if he's telling you this back then, somewhere another brothers ain't get the picture. Somewhere another brothers ain't get the picture like them days over.
Yeah, you know? He's seen where it was going, you know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he talks about I've heard all his videos back in the day, you know, at some point or another. I used to like listening to him tell, so he's a pretty good storyteller, Mayfield was.
Hey, I tell you what, man, I don't know how old Mr. Pete Sparks was, but I'm gonna say it like this, man. And you know, we all know dog fighting is illegal, but when you got brothers that's Mr. Boudreaux age, Mr. Pete Sparks them age, I think, you know, when it comes to the laws and stuff, you know, I think this is my personal opinion, and you know, I pay tax dollars just like everybody else paid tax dollars. So my tax money pay for them folk to go to jail and all that other stuff, pay for folk to be fed in jail rather. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you that old, man, and you done been, say they've been bulldogging since they've been teenagers probably, man, that's all they know. You know, I mean, when you talk to Mr. Pete Sparks, you know, and the way he talk about bulldogging, you know, he ain't got a care in the world when it comes to the laws, really, as far as all that stuff, man. You know, that's what they know and that's what they did, and they didn't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, and my opinion don't matter, you know, right about now, but I feel like brothers like him, that's 80-something, 90-something, going on 100 years old, and that's what they did. That's, you know, you catch them in dog fight right now, man, don't give them no 10 years, which be the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they came up in a whole different system, you know. I just like to hear them dudes talk, man, and the old school slang and that country talk and them boys be doing, man, about them dogs and different things and stuff. Like I watch some of them old videos.
Yeah,
whatever, man.
Those guys lived in a lot harder times than the people of today's world lived in. You know what I mean? There, you know, the Depression and stuff like that, like what some of them guys went through, like Tudor and all those guys. You know, there was a lot of people back then, they was eating possum to stay, you know, to feed the family. Like they just ate possum, you know, and or whatever they could kill. They was starving, you know. It was hard time. Yeah. And so dogs and stuff, they was actually living off of that, or chickens or something like that, you know, and nobody really was saying nothing about it because, you know, you got to think about how far the countries came in such a short amount of time. And it wasn't that long ago, people was riding around in wagons and stuff.
Yep. And truthfully, man, like everybody say, and everybody always say, we can't do nothing about it. I think, you know, the way America loves money, the dogs would have been a big part of the American economy as far as the matches and legal matches on TV and all that stuff like that, you wouldn't have to worry about nobody, tree huggers and none of that stuff. Because if they ain't complaining about the UFC and all that stuff, they the same ones that would have been complaining about the dogs, complaining about anything else that go on. I think by them not being able to control that money front when it comes to them dogs, it made it to the point where they're gonna make it illegal. I just think myself, I think, and I want to say I'm totally against it, but I think if they would have figured out a way to actually control the money of it back in the 50s or the 60s or whenever, or or the 70s, I feel like it would have been different, and like I said, that could be just reaching. I could be just reaching and just just shooting the air, but I just feel like they can't control the money of it, man, and that's what the big deal is.
Yeah, well, think about it like this. So in modern day times, somebody that maybe back in them days or however long, maybe somebody who enjoyed watching dog fighting or something like that. In modern day times, those same people also enjoy watching things like the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Because you have two people going out there. They're coming in prime condition. Yeah. One guy's going to win. One guy's going to lose. And every once in a while, you'll get a draw. You know what I'm saying? And back in those days, sometimes there was a draw, but it was rare. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And another thing, when you're watching the UFC, you got a ref out there. And just like last week, whenever Patty, last week, Patty Pimblett was fighting Michael Chandler. I don't know how many of you guys out there was watching that, but just totally beat him down, And think if you didn't have a referee out there, or if you didn't have a corner man that cared about Michael Chandler, and they just said, beat him to death, Patty, beat him to death. It's that right there that caused it to go south, because the ref is knowing when to pick up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you got a human out there and you love that human, if you love your dog and you see where it's going, there's only so much damage. You know what I'm saying? So if Michael couldn't recover and they left him down, well, Patty would have beat him to death because he was out, and he ain't going to stop punching until someone takes him out, right?
Yep.
So it's the same thing there. So when you let that go and they're like, yeah, take him out, and they leave him down, it's barbaric. You know what I'm saying? So it's not ruled or regulated. Those rules didn't apply like they do to humans, to dogs. So people who didn't really love their dogs, the gamblers who had big money on it or something like that, they didn't love their dogs. They would just let them go. You know what I mean? Instead of picking a good dog up. And how many good dogs got lost like that? Because the guy didn't have the eye to say, no, this is my dog, just like Michael Chandler's corner man said, if the ref wouldn't have stopped it, they'd have been throwing that damn towel in, or he'd have been beat to death, So that's what it's all about. And if they would have let it go, if no one threw a towel in and the ref didn't stop it, and they let Patty beat him to death, then chances are the UFC wouldn't be here very much longer either.
Yep.
See where I'm going with it?
Mm-hmm.
So everything, there's a reaction for everything that happens, and eventually it just catches up.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Right about that. And the thing is, man, when you saying a lot of brothers don't know how to pick up back then, that go a long way, man. That came all the way up to modern day time. That's still, I'm gonna say it, because we only talking about things that we experienced in them days, back 90s on back,
Yeah.
Brothers, wouldn't pick up. Don't know that you could take a good dog home. And that's why I always ask a lot of brothers, man, what did you consider a good dog when it comes to 2 hours? I ask everybody that, and everybody have their own opinions and everybody have different answers. Would you take one home if he lost in 2 hours? Everybody always say, how did he lose? My whole thing with that is I'm going to take one home if he lost in 2 hours. I'm going to say my main thing where I say a lot of people probably wouldn't take one. It depending on what he lost. A lot of people, you can't take a dog home if he done lost $50,000. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say the betting ruined the bulldogs. You know what I'm saying? You can't really see if you got a real bulldog because you got too much money on the line back in them days when people start putting that kind of money on the line.
But if you was going to put that kind of money on the line, you should be, and you love your dog, then that money shouldn't mean so much to you that you couldn't pick that dog up if he was really your dog and you loved him. Now, if you just went and bought him to do this and that, and it's done with him, that's a different story. And that's where the bad judgment came in. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you what, the key words you just said right now, if it's your dog and you love him, because any brother that was his dog, that he was in the square and he had that big bread on him, if he loved him, he know he lost, he know he could come back or he gonna save his dog, he gonna pick him up. It just depending on how that person or whoever doing the betting feel about that dog that's down. Me myself, back in them days, I'm not putting that much on it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I know I can always lose, and I wasn't trying to lose that. But to each his own. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. My whole purpose was to see how good my bulldog was. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, as long as I found out how good that dog was, that's all that mattered. And sometimes, man, when that dollar is on that line, that heavy dollar, that can really affect how certain people, because you have shows that brothers put. You might have 20 people that put money in on something.
Yeah, so when you pick it up, they're all mad at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it just it's different ways. You might go to one where you got all the pot yourself, or you and your partner got the pot, or you and 3 other people got the pot. So it's easier to make decisions then. But the more people you got in on it, and it's a big purse. Oh, we got 100,000. Yeah, you got 100,000, and you got 20, 30 some people. All of them got money in on it. Now,
that's where all the trouble comes. You get 20 to 30 people going that way and stuff like that, and that's where it was always going to eventually.
And I'm gonna tell
you, but it's coming.
I'm gonna tell you what a bad portion is. When you got that much money on the line with that many people, not you don't necessarily have to be 30 people, but you got that much money on the line with multiple people, and the referee don't got the handler of your dog don't got nothing involved with it.
Yeah,
boy, that's a bad combination there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got one man don't want to lose. He want everything to go right. You know what I'm saying? You got these boys over here don't give a damn about the dog. They don't want you to pick up. It can go all kind of ways, man.
That's why what's his name said, go out the swamp. You know what I mean? Hey, when you get off in there like that, you are in the swamps.
Yeah, you in the swamps then, boy. You deep off in there.
Deep off in there, and be careful when you pick up, and be ready to make your own way out if you have to. Yeah,
man. I done heard stories, man, where and brothers, where brothers intimidated the witness, the referees before the shows even started, flexing guns around the referees and pulling them off to the side and talking and all kind of stuff, man. Like
you're in the wrong company.
Yep.
Get the hell out.
Yes, sir. Big shout out to all my people in New York, man, holding it down, all 5 boroughs. Big salute to my brother Alberto out there holding it down, my man. But yeah, man, that dog game, it was a whole lot of fun back in the days, man. And hopefully a lot of these younger brothers enjoy the stories more than trying to go out here and do certain things and understand, how it's going today's time. I want to send a big shout out to Mr. Fatberg, you know what I'm saying, and his whole crew out there. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to my man Joshua holding it down, Mr. Fatberg and them boys out there, all up there in Ohio. Salute to the whole Ohio, man. All my folk, man. I got people all across the world rock with me, Trevor, man. I gotta salute them, man. Gotta salute them.
Got to.
Yes, sir, man. Let me see. Oh yeah, Vernon said the gamblers ruined the game. Yeah, man. And it's a lot of problems came with them gamblers, A lot of problems, because that's when you know a lot of brothers. Some brothers pass the money on and say, "Oh, you can take the money and go gamble." The brothers that wasn't dog men, "Oh, I want to put 5,000 on Sambo. Take it with you and go." And this, I trust you. And then you got other brothers who ain't gonna do that. They say, "I'm gonna bet 5,000 on them, but I want to be there." And when they be there, they gonna have at least 1 or 2 other people with them. You know how that go. And man, that shit went from that to a whole nother ball game, man. Like I said right now, in the early 2000s and say like 2010 era, the man who hosting the show, who he probably make more money than the brothers in the box.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They got them gates and all that stuff, man. They probably make more money than the box. And that's when when it gets down to a money thing like that, a lot of brothers stop looking at things that are considered mistakes, errors that you're making in the game. That's gonna put your whole whatever you're doing at risk. You know what I'm saying? Because of money, because of greed. Oh, I gotta get this dough. I gotta get this dough, and you overlook all that other stuff that you were supposed to be paying attention to. And that's why I say the gamblers, the greed, all that stuff played a part, man. And the shenanigans we have going on today in the dog game. I want to say, man, that dog you showed me, that little dog you showed me a video of, man.
Yeah,
I like that dog though, man. It's small as hell, man. He showed me the smallest pit bull I ever seen in my life today. I like that dog, man. It's small, and I ain't gonna say I would have just throw it into my program, but I would try to make more of them dogs that same size and smaller.
Hey, you see the personality, how she was jumping?
Yeah, hey, man.
Running around in circles and stuff.
Perfect house dog, man.
Perfect. And her great grandmother, it was on back there. But anyway, she was just like her. She was just yellow with a black nose.
Man, that's what I was talking about when I was speaking. I was speaking about that a while back. I said, why we don't got miniature pit bulls that's the same exact structure, same exact form, same exact look, but they just small like Chihuahuas. You know what I'm saying? Out of 50 years of breeding, man, they done made all kind of breedings from pocket pits to bullies, and they created all kind of stuff. And we, I was just wondering, it would have been easier to carry them around. You could carry your pit around in a pocketbook size bag and go to a show back in the days.
Hey, I can grab her up. I can grab her in one arm so easy and just carry her around like a little. She's littler than a French bulldog,
Yeah, hey, back in them days, if you had to get up and run, you pick that joke up, and man, it wouldn't be nothing to run with your dog. Back then,
she's fast.
I was wondering why she was. Yep.
She's a little athletic little thing.
Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna lie, man. I like that dog, man. I like that one. That's a nice one. I don't know if you got it by default or how you got it, but that's a nice one.
I had whenever I was first starting out, there was a dog, and I seen this dog and I wanted her. I didn't know how she's back then. I didn't know pedigrees like I know them today. You know what I mean? This is whenever I was first starting out. I had a couple dogs before that, but I went to somebody's yard and we had got done doing our thing. And he said, I tell you what, he goes, or we walked out and looked at all his dogs. Back in the day, you could just go out and look at dogs. But anyway, we walked this whole yard and I got up to this one dog and she was a little bitty dog. She had a broken leg. And I said, what is that? I was like, I never seen one like that. And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, let me buy her. And he wouldn't sell her to me. I was trying everything to get him to sell her to me. But he said, hey, you come out. He goes, come out and see me. Is like, because this dog was his dog, but it was on another yard at the time. He said, come out and see me. And I've got a whole yard full of little dogs, and I went out there to see him, and I got out there and I didn't see nothing like this dog, but I seen her sisters. They were like maybe 30 pounds, 33, you know what I mean? But they wasn't as little as her. And, I kept going back. He would call me up every time he had a litter of pups, and I'd kept going back, and I'd be like, that's the only dog I want. That's the only dog. And she had this broken leg, and it had some like green looking ooze coming out, and her head was kind of bald. And I didn't even know her pedigree, and I just kept on and kept on. And finally I said, look, man, the dog's got a broken leg. I was like, I'll take the dog and get it healed. I was like, I'll take it to a vet and get its leg fixed, whatever I got to do. I was like, let me get the dog. And so finally he broke down and he sold me the dog. So I took the dog to the vet. Got some bone medicine. She had this green like ooze stuff that was dripping out, and her leg had been broke for over a year.
Damn.
And so I got her all healed up. She came into heat. I called him up. His phone was disconnected. And we was going to breed it, or he wanted me to breed it to this big old termite dog. And I was thinking, man, that dog's too big for this little bitty dog because she's tiny. She was 25 pounds hog fat. And anyway, it didn't go down. And it just so happened that another friend of mine had this other dog. And I seen it and I said, it was a little bitty male with a little blockhead, little red dog, you know. And I didn't even know how that dog was bred. And I said, I just seen the dog. And I liked what I seen. I said, I want to breed to that little motherfucker like that. And he said, okay. And we bred him. Next thing you know, dude's phone gets turned on. I tell him. And he said, you bred to what? And I said, yeah, I sent him. I said, yeah, his name is this. And he's like, that's my dog. He's like, you were supposed to breed to that dog. And he got mad. And I was like, well, that dog was too big anyway. And your phone was disconnected. I was like, this is a little dog, little dog. Next thing you know, the litter come out so good that he went out to another friend of mine's house where the little red dog was, because he knew him, because that dog had came from his yard, and he was out there jacking him off, trying to get sperm off of him. To do, yeah, he was trying to do an AI back in them days. He was trying to get some sperm off of him to breed him to some bitch he had. But anyway, that's where those little bitty dogs came in there, and there was always like I'd breed a litter, and there'd always be a runt, or there'd always be this one, and I could see it because it would have these little different traits. Like that dog I showed you today, she's got a littermate brother that looks like a show dog, but you'll get these little ones that pop up here and there. And you're right, I probably could keep those little suckers and make a line out of them, and they're cool little dogs.
Heck yeah, man. Them jokers there. A pit bull, but he's just small as hell. We had some. Yeah. Did the guy that you were speaking about, was he from South Carolina?
No, he was down from my way.
Okay. We had some back in the days, about 95, that they was a little bit bigger than that one that you showed me, but it was the smallest dogs I seen outside of the ones that you showed me. And it was probably about, I'm gonna estimate about high 20s, maybe 29, somewhere around that area. But they had a little more leg on them than the one that you showed me. They was buckskin red nose, had two of them, a male and a female. But and they was pretty good acting dogs, but it was just so small. You know, a dog 6 months old, 7 months old, off of one of them big yellow dogs, be bigger than them. You know,
she'll walk underneath one of them dogs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For sure,
man. And when the dog have puppies, she still have a big litter, like a big size pit bull on it.
I don't know. You know, okay, so the ones that I've bred in the past, this is what I figured out about them little dogs like that. I'd rather have I wish I could get a male just like her, because every time I breed the females, I've always had to get a C-section because they're so small. Like the first one that I had back in the day that I was telling the story about that I bought from the guy. But anyway, that dog I had to have a C-section, and only 3 of them lived. Only 3 of those dogs lived. The rest of them, she had the first one naturally, and she couldn't push the rest of them out, and I had to rush her in on a Sunday to do a C-section. And that was my first litter off of them. And then that other one I showed you, that black one, I had a C-section off of her. Only one dog come out of her. So if you could get a little male like that little female I got, and then breed that to a normal size one, they can throw that trait, and then you could have more pups. I think that's how you would do it if you wanted to get a bunch of little ones.
Yeah. Now, for anybody in the chat that may want to know, or anybody that's listening that may want to know, I want to know myself. Okay, you said that you've been through it. Okay, when your dog's having puppies, and when did you decide it was time to go to the vet because she's not pushing the rest of them out? You know, when do you think it's time to start worrying?
Well, back in the day, whenever the first time I ever had any experience with it was the first time I went on a Sunday, and I went out there. I was watching her because her belly was dragging the ground because she was so little, and I walked out there to check on her, and she had one of them, which was one of my favorite dogs ever. But anyway, she pushed that one out on her own. I was sitting there watching her and it was taking too long, and I just knew something wasn't right. And so I called my vet, and they had like an emergency line, Yeah. And I said, hey, my dog's had her first pup. It's been over, 2 hours. And they said, get her in here like that. And so I drove up, I loaded her up with her other pup and drove up there. And I actually had to help the vet right there on the table do the C-section because it was just me and him. And he kind of put her to sleep and then put a tube in her and pulled her tongue to the side, and he cut her down the middle. And we took the pups out, and we was trying to, get the stuff off their nose and get them woke up, patting them on the back, rubbing them he was handing them to me when he pulled them out. And I got I brought 2 of them back. 3 of them survived. And the rest of them it was too late. And then on the other one, because I had the experience, already knew, I kept a super close eye on her. And whenever I could already tell, and I'd went to the vet beforehand, because I knew she was small and I kind of had planned it. And we just had a C-section. She had one thick, heavy bone pup. It should have never pushed that big old head out on her own, I don't think. But even though she was a strong little dog, but anyway, we did that the safe way.
Yeah.
But this little one here, I'm pretty sure like what I'll do on her is the same thing. I'll take her in, if she takes, and I know she's pregnant, I'll take her in, have them look at it, do an ultrasound. They'll tell you how many's in there. And then I'll probably have it scheduled because I know the date of the breeding, and I'll probably have it scheduled, and we'll go in there and just do it. And then they'll sew her up, and then get the pups nursing on her and everything, and then take her back home and let her be comfortable. That's how I plan on doing it.
I don't think I asked you this question before, but what do you think about that when we have the C-sections with our dogs, and we see that more in the bullies and stuff? But when we have the C-sections, do you think that may take the motherly feeling away from the mama dog? Because she just goes to sleep. All she knows, she went to sleep and she woke back up. They got puppies. She didn't deliver them. Most dogs, they lick on them and they clean them up and they do all that stuff. And it helps them like feel like, okay, I'm this dog mama. That's my puppy right there. My child. But when you put them to sleep and they wake up and they got 10 puppies right there, they wondering where they came from. You think the dogs know that they came from out of them?
It may be. It probably depends dog for dog. If you have a game stupid dog that don't have any brains or something, you may have more issues with that, or a dog that's just not a good, some dogs just aren't good mothers. I mean, there's dogs that just have their pups and eat them. There's all kinds of flaws out there. But if you have a sound dog like mine was, whenever she came to and then pups were sucking on her nipples and nursing and stuff, she just went right to licking them like she didn't know the difference. And it was the same thing the second time too. And with this one that I have here, I would be very shocked if she was any different.
Yeah. Now, is that something you think that can be passed down genetically, dogs being good mama dogs?
Man, I've seen dogs that are good mama dogs, and then sisters. I've seen sisters that one was a good mama and one wasn't a good mama. And just like that first one that I had the C-section, the one that was born naturally, that dog right there, she wasn't the best mother. In fact, this is a pretty crazy story, but she was super fiery. You know what I mean? I mean, as soon as you walked outside, this dog she was just looking. She hit a statue, anything, that looked like a dog. Yeah. She was super hot. But anyway, she would be napping. This was after the pups were maybe a week or 2 weeks. She would be napping and she would wake up, come out of her nap, and then see the pup moving. And she had hit a couple of them so fast that it was too late, and I was starting to lose pups. And then all of a sudden, this was the craziest thing. I hear a bang, bang, bang on my storm door. And when I opened it up, it was this black lab looking mixed dog with a she had full milk on her, and I don't know if someone dumped her and she lost her pups. I don't know what happened, but it was like she was in a frenzy to get into the house.
Yeah.
And I thought, is she hearing my pups? And so I grabbed my dog and took her out and put her on a tie out because I had a place where I'd take her out, to use the restroom to get away from her pups for a little bit. I took her out, put her out on the tie out, and whenever I opened that door, that lab mix ran into there to those puppies. She laid down and started nursing and licking on them like they was hers. And I didn't even take that other dog back in there. That was the last litter she had for me. And that Labrador mix that someone had dumped, I guess she had pups or something, and she was just full of milk. She went in there and she nursed every one of those puppies. And whenever she was done, she was such a good dog. I called my mom and told her about it, and brought her out there, and I ended up getting her fixed. I took her to the vet and got her fixed, and my mom kept her. She had her for like almost 18 years. This dog just died in the last year.
Hey, I was about to say, I knew I would have kept her myself. I'd have to keep her.
And she was a great dog. That lab mix, she would, like, whenever the grandkids are out in the yard, she would walk the premises like she was looking after them. She was a great dog.
And she had to be at least close to 20 because she came to you with nipples and milk hanging already.
She looked like maybe, how a bitch can have pups at a year. And I think what happened was someone probably just had her. I live out in the country and people dump dogs sometimes, it's horrible, but I think what happened was she probably had a litter of dogs and someone maybe I don't know what they did with her pups. They did something with them, or they took them away from her, or didn't want her to have pups, or didn't want the dog, or maybe a husband didn't want the dog and the wife did, so the husband hauled her off. Yeah. I don't know what happened, but all I know is that dog ran up to my door and banged on it, and she nursed them pups like they was her own, and it was the craziest thing. It was like it was just destined.
Yeah.
Like an angel, Yeah, she was like, because them pups wasn't gonna, that female, there's dogs that I have today that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that dog. I don't think she would have, because I'm not gonna, that bottle feeding and stuff, I was never really that good at that. I never had no luck with it.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, she was like them puppies angel when she came up to the door.
Yeah, she was like my pup's angel, man. She went up there, and then my mom kept her for years, my mom and dad. And like I said, she just passed in the last year, and they even gave her a tombstone. She's got her own tombstone.
I know they was heartbroken.
Well, it was so bad in the end. She was blind and deaf, and she just wandered around, and it was like, how much longer is it? The last couple of years, she's like, I can't believe she's still alive, but she was such a good dog,
And guess what? If they did take her to the vet, they would have told her to put them down 4 years before she died.
Oh,
go ahead and put them down. She lived a good life already. She's gonna be blind. She's getting blind, and she's going deaf, and she's gonna be suffering. And now look, she lived 3 more years with the family.
Yep, she did. She did good. She did good. She was a really good dog. That was a really good dog.
Yeah.
And all my nieces and nephews and cousins and everybody who ever came over there loved that dog, because from the time they were babies, she was there when they were playing in the yard. She'd walk the tree lines and stuff. She acted like she was on alert to protect them.
Yeah. That's the worst part about having dogs like that, man. When 15 and 12 and 20 years and stuff, man, you have family members that was born when these dogs was in the house, and they done became grown, and the dog's still in the house.
Yeah.
And then the dog ended up dying. It hurt, man.
Yeah.
It hurt.
It hurt. She was letting off some stink there towards the end, though, man, and it was just like, you knew that we wanted her just to pass. Everybody would just wanted her to pass on her own, but man, her anal glands and stuff like that. I know my mom was taking her and getting her groomed like at least once a week there towards the end. Otherwise, man, because she liked to sleep next to their bed. She didn't like storms, stuff like that. There's certain things she didn't like, but there towards the end, my dad would go sleep on the couch. You know what I'm saying? He said, I can take the stench, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But she did good though. She was a good one.
Hey, now what's the longest y'all ever heard of pit living, man? Bella was down there. She said her dog mama was, I think she said 16 or something like that.
I just had one that passed April 6th, and I'll have to pull out his papers, but I think he was at least like 15. He had to at least be 14, 15, maybe 16 years old. I haven't looked at the birth date on his papers in a while, but he was old.
Damn.
And it was the same thing. I kept him in my room towards the end, and I let him sleep he would sleep next to me on a crate. He would chew your shoe up or something, but he was perfectly content, and then just take him outside, walking real slow and stuff like that to use the restroom and stuff. But he got cancer. And once that cancer, he had like a knot that came up on the back of his leg. And once that thing started spreading, it took him out pretty quick. It was probably like, I don't know. Once I said, okay, yeah, that thing's growing fast. It was probably a week later he was dead.
Damn.
Yeah. But I just loved him. I had him since he was a pup. You know what I mean? I had him so long, and he was such a good dog for me.
Yeah.
I wanted him to go naturally, because if I was sick on my last and I still had thoughts or whatever, I wouldn't want someone just to inject me and put me down,
Yep. Yep.
Well, fuck it.
Yeah. Throughout your days, have you seen a lot of at least in the last 15 years, have you seen a lot of skin problems in a lot of different dogs? Not even necessarily of your dogs, just in dogs in general.
I've seen some, and I've even helped people with some. You know what I mean? That, not everybody's dog care is on the same level as other people's dog care, So whenever I see something like that, it's my natural instinct not to beat you up, but to try to help you. You know what I mean? I'll say, hey, I've even bought stuff for people and went out there and rubbed their dog down. You know what I mean? Just because they're older guys or something, I thought they might need some help.
Now, what's the number one formula you think that works for bringing hair back, hair loss?
The worst case of mange that I've seen, the last really bad case of mange I've seen, there was a litter of like 4 or 5 pups, and this one pup had been weaned, and its skin was so thick from the mange, how the skin gets real thick. You know what I mean? It was misery, and it was almost to the point to where the guy who had him was going to put the dog down because he was like, this is, the dog's in misery. And I said, hey, let's try this. And we got some, just some basic Happy Jack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wash, the one that's for the mange. We rubbed it down, or I rubbed it down. I went and got some gloves on and stuff and rubbed the dog down. And, that I think it's sulfur is what it is that helps it or whatever, but it soaked into the skin, and went out there the next weekend and soaked it down again. And it wasn't probably about, I don't know, a month or two, and that dog had a beautiful coat on it.
Yeah, I had some good results with that Happy Jack stuff too. You got to make sure you put on gloves, though. You got to wear some gloves, boy. You'll be smelling that on your hands for days.
Get under your fingernails and stuff. I've done it. That's what the first time you do it. The second time you figure out to get gloves.
Yeah.
Everybody messes that up the first time, but I hadn't had to do that in a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, Jimmy Mack said, did it show back up when she got the hair?
No, she lived to be a full-grown dog, and everything was fine with her. There was nothing. After that, she had a beautiful coat. She grew up and just came out of it. I think it was like maybe because I don't know if her milk wasn't that good or something. Her other litter mates didn't have the problem. She was just, for some reason, maybe her immune system got down or something, and that was inside her, and it made it surface or something. You know what I mean? But once we got rid of it, that was it. Now them dogs, that particular bunch of dogs, whenever the seasons would change, it seemed like you ever have a dog that has a winter coat? Almost like it's been out it was weird. Almost it had been out in the sun and kind of lightened up, and it was dead.
Yeah.
Like a dead coat. And you got to go out there, depending on the dog, the these particular dogs didn't like if you brush them, like if you brush them out,
Yeah.
they'd get wound up or something. So you'd almost have to put them on what you'd do is you'd put them on what you can call a bathing stand. You know what I'm talking about? Some people call it a breeding stand.
Yeah, yeah.
But whenever when you get older and you're washing dogs and stuff like that, and you're bending over and stuff like that, if you have a good breeding stand, what some people call breeding stand, you can also put your dog on there. Like if you had to use Happy Jack and you had a full-size dog, you could put her on a breeding stand, and it would make it a lot easier because you don't have to worry about the dog jumping all over you and knocking stuff over and stuff like it. Makes it more of a controlled environment where you can really rub it in, get it right, rub the tail, and then she submits or he submits, and then you get behind the ears and wherever it needs to go, rub that dog down from the feet to the tail and get it treated if you have that type of problem. Those bathing stands can make that really well, or if you just need to bathe your dog. You know what I mean? It's better than it running up your shower walls, especially in the summertime when it's nice outside. You can go clear off your concrete, put them on a bathing stand, go out there and wash your dog down real good, and you don't have to worry about it, getting in your bathtub.
Yeah. Now, Street Rossi say, does having a dog on the inside or outside make a difference on how long he gonna live, in your opinion?
I don't think that makes any difference. I think what makes a difference is keeping good food underneath it and water underneath it, and making sure it's been wormed, and just taking care of your dog, making sure it's got its vaccinations when it's a pup or anything it needs. But a healthy diet, fresh water, and some love and care will make a dog go a long ways. It don't matter if it's inside or outside, because they weren't in nature. They weren't born inside of a house. You know what I'm saying? But you can make them a house dog. I like to have a house dog or two.
Hey, what do you think about vaccinations shortening our dogs' lives up? Have you ever heard that?
Well, it's just, what do you think about, the CVAC, the one that we had in 2021? You're not supposed to say that, they say, but you know what I'm talking about. Everybody, we'll just say the Kung Fu virus or whatever, But anyway, there's a lot of people that had a lot of problems with that. That's a vaccination. I know, like a mandatory vaccination. If I vaccinate my dogs, you know what I mean, when they're pups. I make sure they get that. And then the last one is your rabies shot. You're supposed to get that yearly. I researched it. I think in my state, there was only 10 reported cases of rabies in the last year of any animal is what I researched. I researched that recently because I was told that it was, you're supposed to have your dogs rabies vaccinated and stuff like that, which made me wonder, well, how many cases of rabies do we have these days? Because I've never had an experience with it. Have you?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, I never hear of any. I mean, I watched Old Yeller when I was a kid.
I watched the movies and we watched it on TV, and I think I've seen a rabies raccoon before, but far as that, other than that, I haven't seen no dogs. Period. Nobody dogs with no rabies.
Yeah, and I was always told if you see a skunk out, a raccoon out, nighttime animals that are out in the day, just shoot them. Go out of your way to shoot them if you can, and you're not in a spot to where as long as you're in the country or something, you wouldn't want to be running around town popping guns off, shooting a animal during the day. But you might call your whoever handles that locally and let them deal with it, and they can come put it down. Shoot it with a bow and arrow or a pellet gun or something.
Yeah,
but you're definitely supposed to shoot them if you see like a skunk during the day walking around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, acting crazy or something. You're supposed to put that down. You don't want your dog to get a hold of that.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if having them on the inside or the outside matter as far as his life. I don't see where it would, but I think having them in the house, sometimes you can kind of dodge certain things as far as a lot of the, say, mosquitoes biting them all the time, and getting with your worms and stuff, maybe pass through that sometime, or some type of little diseases that can be passed through mosquitoes. So you kind of you're not really getting the mosquito bites, you know, that you would normally get, but you ain't getting the sunlight as well. It's just, I think it's certain things you may can avoid, but all in all, I feel the same way you feel. I feel it don't really matter as long as you're taking care of the dog. Got the dog vaccinated, wormed out, because worms and all that stuff can play a real big part in it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, especially
Huge
like,
part. Worms are parasites. It's just like your female dog. So when you go to breed your dog, I don't know about you, but I like to get my dog beefed up before I breed it.
Yeah.
That way she's strong, she's wormed out. There ain't no parasites in her. So that whenever she's milking those pups, she's giving them some good, solid, clean milk. And soon as those pups get up to about, I don't know, maybe like 2-3 weeks, you can give them a little bit of a wormer, and you can go ahead and worm your bitch out too, you know, with some what do you call it? You know what it is, the yellow stuff.
Like my yellow stuff is the stringent paste I use, like the horse warmer stringent paste.
I'm trying to think of the word for it. You know, Safeguard will do everything, but there's one for
Ivermectin or something like that.
No, Ivermectin, that's for mosquitoes. That's like 1% injectable per 0.1 milliliter. So if you had a 30-pound dog, 0.1 per milliliter would be 30 pounds for Ivermectin. That'll protect against heartworms.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot of people back in the old days. That's the only way you did it. And that protects against a lot of stuff. But no, it's like when you have something on the tip of your tongue and you can't say it. You know what I'm saying? It'll come to you in just a minute. But it's yellow. Your vet will give it to you, and it's super dosed down. You can get it in like a big bottle, and you don't have to give as much to your pups because it's not mixed, or it's mixed way stronger than it is from your vet. They're basically getting a big bottle of that and watering it down or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, you can give it, you can do it like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, every 2 weeks, just to keep them all wormed out. Nowadays, my last litter I had, what was cool was, because I use, that NexGuard Plus now, and you're not supposed to give that to a pup till it's 8 weeks old.
Okay.
But at 8 weeks old, that'll protect it against, or NexGuard Plus will protect against fleas, ticks, flies, mosquitoes. If it's protecting from mosquitoes, that's going to protect you against heartworms, hookworms, whipworm, all that stuff. It knocks out all those worms, one little chew. Yeah, and they make it for like for 8 weeks is the minimum. That's the minimum age you can give them one of those chews, and you're just done. You're done. So that'll keep flies and stuff off your dogs. That NexGuard Plus is good. It's expensive if you have a lot of dogs, but if you got more dogs than you can afford to use on it, maybe you just got too many dogs. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah. Now, one thing, like Vernon Starr said, take care of your dog, they live a long time. And the thing is, you can't take care of them. Now, you can't control it if you just bought the dog when he's 4 or 5 years old or something like that. But starting off from a puppy, take care of him his whole life, that's going to matter that first year, the second year, the third year, and, you have a dog that make it till he's 15 years old or till he's an old dog, rather. But when you give him a rough life for the first 3 or 4 years, and they barely hanging on time to time, all that stuff matter. All the penicillin, you got to shoot them up. All the different things you got to do. I just learned as an adult. I'm not going to tell no lie. I learned this as an adult. Maybe a few years before I did my channel, that penicillin was bad on the kidneys like that. Especially young dogs, rather. Younger dogs. And truthfully, when I was like in my teen days, in my early 20, 21, 22, when I needed the antibiotics for a cut, I used penicillin. But I later found out that penicillin is not your thing you want to use for a cut, because that's for another type of infection. You want your amoxicillin and them type of drugs for your cuts and your swellings and things like that. Man, it's like when I start using the amoxicillin pills, any kind of infection my dog had, you can see it start working in a couple days. You can see it start working, healing it up. You know, and the amoxicillin, I mean, the humans can take that. So, you know, it's more healthier than the penicillin. And you know, is the penicillin, from what I researched, I'm thinking it's for more internal infections, like a lung infection or something like that, but not like your leg cut or your leg wound or something like that. You know,
well, so ceflexin, amoxicillin, all those, that's what your vet, they're going to give you that. You can inject penicillin too. I don't think anything's wrong with that, but those definitely work. And, you know, nowadays you can't get penicillin like you used to. So your vet's not going to give you, your vet's not going to give you penicillin unless you ask for it usually.
So now I'm glad you said that, because do you think that's a money thing or a dog fighting thing? For them taking all the antibiotics off the shelves, making us have to go to the vets.
Well, you got to think that we're not the only ones that own animals. So the vets,
the vets,
so you got to think of all the people that own horses and cattle and chickens and, you know, all kinds of wildlife. Everything needs medicine. You know what I'm saying? So the harder they make it on you, the more control they have over it. The more regulations they can have over it. I don't know. I don't really think that you should. There's just nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? You just gotta adjust to the modern day times, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. It used to be pretty cool though, when you could just walk into a vet store and go get you some fish, you know, whatever, and it was ceflexin, or one of them was amoxicillin. You was doing it the same. It was like fish biotic or something, you know. You could walk in there and use all that, and you get your medicine right there in the feed store, in a lot of feed stores anyway. And you didn't have to go there, but it's super cheap anyway. If you have to get it from your vet, it's super cheap. It's not that much. The visits what cost a lot.
I think they'd have more vet visits, man, if they did if it was mandatory that you can get your payment plan or something. You know, if you didn't have the money to get your whatever your medication was, that you can do a payment plan or something to get your dog fixed. A lot of people don't go because they just can't afford it. And we're not talking about ears clipping and stuff like that, but stuff that's, you can pay payments on it. And some vets do payments, but you gotta have, like, it's going off your credit and stuff like that. It just
depends. I know there's a lot of vets that do payments. You know what I mean? They'll let you pay stuff off, like if you have an emergency or something like that. I know I had a dog. I had this female dog. They were litter mates. And all of a sudden I just went out there without any warning. She was completely fine. Don't know what happened. Still don't know what happened to this day. Just went out there, and the dog was dead out of nowhere. She had everything she needed. She wasn't sick, never showed no signs. And then I said, I'm going to watch this one over here extra close to make sure whatever. And I always wondered if it was like a mushroom that popped up in the yard, or if someone poisoned my dog and I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But I started watching my other dog, and all of a sudden she started acting weird, and I rushed her into the vet, and me and my son had her, and she was going off and in, and he was literally blowing in her nose and stuff, because it's that dog that you seen, you know?
Yeah.
It was running around there. That was the dog.
Anyway,
yeah. So we took her in, and they said, basically they had to give the dog a blood transfusion. She was about 3 years old. They had to give her a blood transfusion, and they kept her there for almost a month, monitoring her, and they never did figure out what it was. Or anything, but whenever I went and picked her up, she was fine, and I never had a problem since. But I think it was like all I can think of, because they were close to being in the same area, is either someone came out and poisoned my dogs, put something out there or something that they ate, or somebody, or maybe like a mushroom popped up out of nowhere and maybe they ate them or something. I never could figure it out, but it was the weirdest thing. End of the day, it ended up costing me about $3,500. But you got to think, they had my dog up there taking care of it for almost a month, monitoring it, housing it, everything, and it cost me about $3,500, you know. But my son loved that dog, and I thought she was pretty special myself, so I went ahead and bit the bullet and paid it off, and I didn't have to pay it up front. I just paid him in payments.
Yeah.
Gave him some here, gave him some there, paid him off, and in good standing. You know what I mean? You could go in there if it happened again. I know where to go, but I don't ever expect that to happen because it's the only time I ever seen anything like that happen. It was super weird. I almost feel like somebody threw something out there, you know, when nobody was around, or either they poisoned them or did something. But it was super weird because there was no signs, and then just all of a sudden the one dog dies, and then the sister gets sick a day later. And I noticed she was kind of slow moving around, you know what I mean? But she looked healthy, but she was kind of slow moving around. She wasn't her peppy self, you know?
Yeah. Now, when it comes to pet insurance, them boys say pet insurance is pretty expensive these days. Now, one thing I will say, when you get an AKC dog, most time, if you pay attention to the papers that come up in there, you get a free month or a free couple months or something like that of pet insurance. But the thing, I read the small print on it, and it was talking about like certain things. It was just certain things that it covered or whatever. But yeah, that pet insurance just like human health insurance.
Yeah, it's just like if you buy a dog and it's up to a certain age or whatever, they'll insure it for a certain amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can put it, but you got to think some of those guys in those other registries, like, what are those fluffies or whatever? I was seeing somewhere where they were selling them for like $50,000 or something. You know, I seen some deal where some guy was talking about pink fluffy Frenchie or something. Some pink, they called it a pink fluffy Frenchie, some exotic weird breed that they were doing. It looked like they had crossed something in there. It didn't look pure to me, but it had the look, but it was just, it had fluffy hair. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was saying, this is the only one like this. And he was talking about doing like $10,000 and $20,000 stud fees, and people was lining up, you know, and it was like just doing some old Frankenstein breeding back there, you know, saying, hey, cross this in here and cross this in there and make it look like this. I don't know what they're doing, but they're making some money. I'll tell you that. It's making more money than any of the bulldog people.
Hey, them dogs high, boy. Them damn fluffy Frenchies. They didn't create them things. It look like to me they mix up something like a Shih Tzu or a Pekingese or something with them little small dogs, and you know you got to do your selective breeding. One of them gonna come out with just a little bit of fluff on it, look more like the bulldog, and probably use that one as the stud and continue it on. And then you breed them. And as they breed them, the whole litter may not come out fluffy. It may get 2 or 3 of them fluffy because they in there, you know. But hey, they damn sure created them, and they high, boy, them things high.
They're making big money off those for the time being, you know. I mean, how long is that going to live? I don't know. Whenever I look at them, you know, the ones that I think look cool are the real ones, the ones that are really bred right and have like show quality look and stuff to them, not like those crazy fluffy looking ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, when it comes to worm medicine, I always hear a lot of people talk about that old school purple pill and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna lie. To me, Happy Jack had a worm back in the days called Happy Jack tapeworm and speller. It came with 3 capsules. Yeah. And each one of them capsules had 3 little small pills in it. To me, that was the best worm medicine I ever seen in my life. You know, you give your dog that worm medicine, and in a matter of 15 minutes, he gonna either be shitting out worms or fluid gonna be coming out back like he took a laxative or something like that. Yeah, and you seen it working right then. I like to see my medicine working on them dog. I don't like to give my dog medicine and you just gotta wonder if the worm's gone or not. Hoping if you got, it's like when you got puppies and you give them worm medicine, you see the worms coming out of them. You know what I'm saying? And when we get grown dogs and we give them worm medicine, we really don't see the worms come out of them. We just give them the medicine, and sometimes they get back thick, or if they were small or something, they get back healthy the way they're supposed to look. But we really don't see the worms come out of them when they big. And that medicine, I'm talking about. You give a grown dog them capsules, man, and they go to working on them.
Well, what it was back in those days, just like the care of your dogs evolves. The longer you have dogs, if you love what you have, or if you're you get better as time goes on. Like you figure out what to do. Like when you're first starting out, your dog may have had so much worms that when you wormed it, it was just shitting worms everywhere because it needed it so bad. But when you get older and you learn how to do it you do whatever you're doing every month, whatever your regimen is, to keep the worms out of them, they don't get wormy like that. You know what I'm saying? So you're killing them every month before they start, because once those parasites get in there and take over, your dogs get that, or the puppies will get that big old bloat, that wormy look.
Yeah.
And then you hit them with that, and then they're squirting them nasty looking worms out everywhere. We've all seen it. But I tell you what, the last breeding I did was the first one I used doing NexGard Plus. And the first, like her first, and I regret doing this. So after about 3 weeks, I gave her last dosage of the NexGard Plus, which basically protects her against everything, gets every worm out of them. And then after that, I said, okay, I'm not worming her again until she has these pups and she's got these pups nursed and whatever. So she has these pups, and it's a small litter. It's a litter of 4. And anyway, 2 of them made it. One of them was born. One of them was stillborn, and the other one was just, she pushed it to the side, and I had to take it out of there. But the 2 that made it were super healthy. I never wormed them, except for I wormed them about 4 weeks with my yellow medicine, the medicine I'm trying to talk about that I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I wormed them with that, and then the next time I wormed them was at 8 weeks with the NexGard Plus, and I never even seen worms in them because that NexGard Plus was working so good on her, and she never broke down. You know how like when a dog, maybe it's because she only had 2 pups, I don't know. But you know how like the mama dogs, sometimes they break down. She never broke down. She stayed looking way too, I had her overweight. I had her so big and fat, and I finally had to trim the weight down off of her after she had her pups, and I separated them and everything. But it really zapped those worms to where they wasn't in the milk. And I never seen worms in this last litter that I did myself. I never seen worms in their shit.
Yeah.
Even after I hit them with that NexGard the first time, they never had the chance to get wormy.
Yeah.
But I had them in a real clean setup too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. The older and more wiser brothers get, you learn better habits to handle your dogs with, and you see less of that stuff too.
Back in the day, so what I would do is once a month, I would go out there with a syringe with the ivermectin 1% injectable, and it would be 0.1 per 10 pounds. So if you had a 50-pound dog, he would get a half a milliliter or a half a cc. That's 50 pounds. If you had a 100-pound dog, he'd get 1 cc because that's 0.1 per 10 pounds. And I would go around and I'd squirt that in their mouth. They don't like that. They don't like that. And then that was pretty much enough to kill the worms. And then about once every 3 months, I'd go out there with a Safeguard, and I had to get that big old the big bottle of Safeguard. It's about $150, but it lasts a long time. And I'd hit them all with that, and you give them 5 cc's of that 3 days in a row. Or if it's a really big dog, you might have to give them more than that. If it's a smaller dog, you got to adjust and do a smaller. It's broken down too. I don't do that anymore now that I do the NexGuard Plus, but I would go around and do it like that, and I didn't really have to deal with the worms either, and that works. And they say that'll actually kill some mange too, different types of mange, and keep fleas off your dogs. And then for the cow tags, I heard you asking about cow tags.
Yeah,
I used to use cow tags before I went to NexGuard Plus because I don't have to worry about flies and mosquitoes and all that stuff anymore. But I'll tell you a cow tag that works for dogs because I've used different ones that don't work. The Magnum purple tags, take those, cut them, take you a zip tie, put them in it, or wrap them through there, and then put it around the collar, and they will keep the flies off your dog's ears.
The Magnum purple ones?
The Magnum purples. I'll send you a picture later. I still have some because I used to use them. I don't use them anymore, but those are the best ones that I ever used.
Okay. Yeah, I seen some purple ones up there, but I ain't sure if they were said Magnum or if they was just another brand. Or
it's Magnum. You put those. What you do is you take a zip tie, get you a nice little zip tie, and you put it around. You trim it to where it's like I used to do it to where it would be inside of the collar, to where I would put the Magnum to where it was facing the inside of the collar. I've done it a couple different ways, and then zip tie it around and then cut the clip it to where you don't want that where you clip it. You don't want it on the inside of the collar because it's pokey, and you don't want it poking your dog in the neck. So you do it like that, or you can take it if you've got a bigger dog. You can take one and run it through the hole because there's a hole in there. You can run your zip tie through the hole and then run that around your collar and just let it hang and do it like that too. But if you got a really little dog, you need to cut it up, if you got smaller ones.
And what that's supposed to work for? Flies and ticks, or flies, or what? Fleas, or what?
It'll keep the flies. I never had a problem with fleas back then. I don't think it's really for fleas. I think it's more for flies and stuff like that. It'll, how like when the weather changes, like right now we're in April.
Yeah.
So the weather's changed. So if you're not using something like NexGuard Plus or something like that, or those cow tags, if you ain't on top of yourself, your dogs might have like where where the flies will bite at their ears,
Yeah.
And if you put the Magnums on them, it'll take about 2 or 3 days and it'll start to clear up. But I ain't seen anything on my dog's ears, but I keep them on, like I said, I keep them on that new stuff now, and it's super strong against all these crazy different fleas that have built up immunities. And, that's what made me switch to it, because all of a sudden I used to use what dude was talking about, that Bayer tree, tick and shrub.
Yeah.
I used to use that out there to spray in my trees and stuff. And then I'd use the cow tags and the ivermectin and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I had these fucking fleas that came through here that it wasn't killing them. And I was, like you said, I was going out there and squirting them with the permethrin spray that you can make. You can get it.
Yeah.
They sell it at the feed stores and stuff. Man, I'd go out there 3 hours later and they was back on it. And I said, man, I got to do something. So I went to my vet and I said, I want something that takes care of everything. And I said, I want it to kill roundworms, hookworms, tapeworms, flies, mosquitoes, everything. And that's what they recommended to me. So I got on it, and I've been doing that now for this will be about year number 2 on it. And it's been great. It's expensive. I ain't gonna lie. Every month it's like, it hurts. But it's worth it, because if you break down, number one, the time, the money of all these other regiments you got, that Bayer tree, tick, and shrub stuff ain't free. That's going to cost you, especially if they're coming right back. That fly spray ain't free. It's going to cost you, especially if they're coming right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by the time you add up the cost of all that and the battle that you never win, you don't win the battle against fleas. The fleas are winning. Whenever I went to this NexGuard Plus stuff, 2 days later, I won. They was gone. You know what I'm saying? So I said, I'll pull my wallet out for that, because there's one thing I can't stand is fleas, and I don't want no bites on my dog's ears. You know what I mean? Like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want my dogs to be happy, healthy, out there living their best life. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Looking good. I don't want to be judged for that stuff. And I'm the hardest on myself on that side of the deal. But I've always been like that with mine. It was like kind of like a kid taking care of their babies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted, no matter what, if I thought enough of them to have them, I wanted to do my best to buy them.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't afford to do that, I just thought, well, I just got too many. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I need to cut it down or give this guy one or do something here with one or do something with that one or sell one, do something. But you got too many if you can't take care of them right, is the way I always looked at it.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's a lot of work too.
Oh yeah. A lot of work, man. A lot of work. The more you got, the more them dogs you got, a lot more work you got.
Hey, that little Chewy though, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, it sounds crazy. There's probably a lot of people that say, I ain't doing that. It sounds crazy, but man, it actually makes your life a lot easier because you don't have to do this and do that and stay on your calendar, making sure you're out there doing it at this time and that time. No, man. 1st or the 15th, pick one, and that's the day you do it.
So how long that stuff work?
It's month to month.
Okay, month to month.
Yeah,
okay.
So like even in your summertime or whatever, like even like in the bad season. So in March, usually about March, at the end of February, March is whenever any type of fly start. I guess in different parts it might come earlier, but for me, the end of February, depending on the season, things change. And March, the flies and the stuff like that start to move. Then you go into April, May, June, and here's everything. Everything's on top of you. All the bugs are out. All the bad shit's out. It's not a good time to be feeding raw, stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm hoping Mellow Yellow, she's starting to get big, and like I said, she's about a good 3 weeks in now.
What'd you breed her to?
I made that same breeding, like
there you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you can't go wrong with that one.
And she getting to that point now. She losing her appetite. She ain't want to eat that much yesterday and today. I had to mix some house food up in there. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get some chicken leg quarters.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go down to the locker plant, get some leg quarters, and most of the time she's a pretty good. She got a pretty good appetite where she'll eat it both, eat the raw and the dog food.
Yeah.
If I don't get chicken leg quarters, I'll just go get some canned food and mix in it with it to give her something a little more tastier to eat with it, to at least to her appetite build all the way up.
Yeah. Now, are you feeding? You're gonna do raw when she's pregnant. Are you gonna feed raw, or are you gonna pressure?
I haven't started yet, but I have did it before where I switched them onto raw after they got pregnant, and then matter of fact, with Anime, I fed her raw during her pregnancy and after she had the puppies. I kept her on the raw, just feeding her a leg quarter. That's all I was giving. Like, I probably give her 2 leg quarters, maybe an egg or something, but it wasn't nothing where I had to go out there and fix some kind of special little diet or nothing. I just gave her chicken quarters.
Yeah.
But only as far as with Mellow Yellow now, I may just go truthfully. If I don't do the leg quarters, I may just go get some canned food, and I'll probably take just 3 or 4 scoops out the can. I don't even care just enough to put a little and some cod liver oil. That's what I use, and plus the milk, the goat milk that I put on the stuff or whatever. That'll give it more flavor and stuff like that too. So, I haven't even started, giving her goat milk yet. So once I add all that stuff to her food, she'll pick everything up the way. And you always expect them to lose their appetite around that first week or so.
Yeah. Well, so I went through I think I did a raw diet for about 3 years, and which you got to have to have extra time on your hands to do a raw diet.
Yes,
and,
sir.
I've done some I've done some pregnancies with it. So, and it's got some people, to me, like I won't mess with raw. with a pregnant female anymore, unless I got a pretty clean source of meat. Because whenever, like I was saying earlier, like, you know how you worm your dog out before she's going to have the pups, you want her free and clear of those worms. Well, because raw food tends to have more chances of having worms in it or whatever, no telling what they put in the food these days with all the hormones, you know what I mean? Like chicken quarters.
Yeah.
They inject a lot of hormones into that stuff these days. So
hey, stop right there. Right there. What if that affects you without you knowing it? You getting chicken that got hormones shot in it, you feeding them raw to your dog, and the hormones it does something to your dogs, to your puppies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is because they put all this stuff in this food these days. Like, we cook our food out, right? So when the way I do.
You went out on me. Hold up. You can hear me?
I used a good high quality. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Everything good?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, so my last litter of pups that I had, I just used a good high quality dog food, and then the same dog food that I was using, I got the canned version of it for puppies. So the whole time my female was pregnant, I was feeding her a puppy food so it would put those puppy nutrients into her, and I was even mixing a can with it just to get her to really eat it, you know, because they like that shit.
Yeah.
And I would feed that to her, and I got her all beefed up. When she had the pups, the first couple days, they kind of lose their appetite. So what I did was I went and got me a 10-pound bag of leg quarters, whatever, and I got one of those Ninja pressure cookers, and I'll put like 4 chicken quarters in there at a time, flip it on there for like 25 minutes. That's all it takes on the pressure cooker. Let that thing run out, blow the steam off of it, debone it, and then I would take it out there and just put that on top of that food, and she couldn't resist it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She'd get up and clean that up and go right back to them pups.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did for her. And then it's the same thing whenever my pups, as I'm trying to wean those pups and get them to start eating stuff, you put a little bit of soft food in front of them, and they might lick it a little bit at first, day one or something. And then you go out there gradually and you get them on stuff. And then before you know it, I'm pressure cooking them some chicken quarters, and they're hogging that down. And now they're getting all beefed up on them chicken quarters. Now you put that puppy food in front of them, and they start a little bit at a time. They start eating that, and then you wean them off them chicken quarters and onto that kibble. You know what I mean? That good quality puppy kibble that you've been raising your female on, that they've been getting their nutrients through her from.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I did.
Yeah. Now, Street Rossi was asking about the dine. Yeah, I use the dine, Street Rossi, for dogs lose appetites. They're supposed to help your dog get the appetite back, high calories. I use it just to put that sweet taste on my dog's food. Plus, I know it's healthy for them. So I throw a little ring around the dog food, just a little dab of it or something. I got a bottle in it now. I'm down to the very, very end of it. I need to get me some more of it. That dine, that over reliable. You put that dine on that food, they're gonna go over there licking on it.
Yeah. Hey, do you ever have on that dine? Have you ever noticed, like, the first time you feed them, they hog it down? Like, if you give them a pretty good dose of it, the first time they'll hog it down, the second time they'll hog, and then all of a sudden they kind of start to lose the taste for the dine. Have you noticed that?
I haven't really paid attention, but I'm gonna pay attention now and see if this. They act like they like it pretty good, but I'm gonna check them out and see.
I keep a big old bottle of dine around. But like for even the pups, like whenever their pups are little, you can and it seems like you put the dine down the first time, they lick it up, you put it down again, they'll lick it up, and they kind of lose their taste for it.
Yeah.
It seems like, and then they're good though, but it's high in calories. It goes on them quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you rocking with me tonight, Trevor, man. And I appreciate everybody down in the chat that's rocking with us, everybody that's watching this video or listening. You know, y'all take care of your dogs. Y'all stay safe out there. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep bulldogging. PBK9s, and we out.